How can leaders truly make their organizations a great place to work? Part of this starts with this idea that we're moving away from creating an organization where we assume people need to be there to creating an organization where people actually want to be there. And a lot of this starts with leaders. But the interesting thing is that oftentimes we forget about the true impact that a leader actually has. We always assume that leaders just impact what happens inside the organization. But think of a scenario where you're having a great day, where your leader recognizes you for your hard work, you feel appreciated and valued. You're not just having a great day inside your organization, but when you go home at the end of the day and your spouse or your significant other says, "Hey, how was your day?" You're beaming, you're glowing. In other words, you're not just feeling great at work, you're feeling great outside of work as well. Similarly, the flip side of that is also true. If you're inside of your organization and you get berated or your manager calls you out in front of other people, you're not just gonna feel deflated and disengaged while you're at work, but you're gonna go home at the end of the day and your spouse, your significant other is gonna say, "How was your day?" And you're gonna say, "Oh man, it was tough. I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed. I don't know if this is the right organization for me." So leaders have a tremendous impact, not just on what happens inside the organization, but also on what happens outside of the organization as well. A leader can quite literally make or break your day, your week, your month, or your year. So I want to give a couple pieces of advice for leaders on how they can create an organization where people truly want to be there, not where they assume that people need to be there. And the first piece of advice I have for all you leaders out there is to add 2 words to the end of a very common phrase that we hear. We always assume that coaching and mentoring is about helping make other people more successful. But the 2 words that I want to give you to add to the end of that are help make other people more successful than you. It's easy to help make somebody else more successful. You spend 5 minutes with them, 10 minutes with them, all of a sudden they're more successful because you taught them something new or shared some information. But to help make somebody else more successful than you, that requires a lot of time and effort and dedication and focus. That's what being a true coach and a mentor as a leader truly is. It's helping unlock the potential of other people. It's helping other people do things that they didn't know that they could do. It's the human aspect of leadership, the human aspect of work. So add those 2 phrases, those 2 words to the end of that sentence, help make other people more successful than you. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is get to know your employees as human beings, as individuals, not just as workers. In other words, we assume, again, that the people who work with and for us, they're a job description, they're a role. But do you know what your employees care about, what they value, what their dreams and aspirations are, what their fears are? Get to know your employees as human beings, not just as workers. And guess what? This isn't a hard thing to do. This is about having a conversation. This is, again, being human. This is where true leadership comes from. So get to know your employees as human beings, not just as workers. And the third piece of advice for you, it's more of a visual that I want you to think of, is I want you to imagine yourself as a leader. You are a lighthouse, okay? This is the visual I want you to have for yourself as a leader. Now, as a leader, you want to build yourself up. You want to become this big, bold lighthouse so that you can shine your light onto others and onto the sea of uncertainty that we're all a part of. But as a leader, you have to remember that by being a lighthouse, if there are no ships in the water, what's the point of being a lighthouse? What's the point of building yourself up? What's the point of learning new skills and mindsets? What's the point of doing any of these things if there are no ships in the water for you to guide? So that is the metaphor, the visual that I want you to have when you think of yourself as a leader. You're a lighthouse. What are you doing each and every day to not just build yourself up, but to also guide those around you? This is what leadership is about. This is the human aspect of leadership. So I hope you found this advice helpful during your leadership journey and to creating an organization where people truly want, not where they need to show up to work each day. If you found this video useful, I'm also gonna be around on the Workplace from Meta social channels. I'm gonna be doing a live discussion there on December 1st, and you're gonna find me floating around their social channels over the coming weeks and months ahead. See you soon.